Let's keep it rolling on the Ryan Hartson Show on the BWC Network. I am Ryan Hartson, breaking down every game in the NFL. We start out with all the bad games because, good God, there are a lot of them. I mean, God, just awful, awful games. Let's start with the worst one. Carolina, Chicago. Ooh. Cam Newton versus Jay Cutler. How many times is Jay Cutler going to get sacked this week? Lord have mercy. Man, someone's going to have to win this game, right? Like, yikes. I mean, the Bears they are so old and slow and weird, and their offensive line is bad, and I don't even know how good Jay Cutler is anymore. It's just, the Bears are just so confusing and bad and boring and stupid and everything. I'm tired of them already. It's like week 4, and I'm like tired of talking about the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to be around all year just because they're just an annoying team that is always in contention because they're kind of talented. So, Bears are at home. Cam Newton, it's his first really, really tough road test, tough road environment. How's he going to handle that? This is just a game where you just watch because you just want to see how Cam Newton handles a tough situation. That's really the only reason anybody should watch this game, but the only people that'll be watching will be in Carolina and Chicago. Another one that's kind of bad, Buffalo and Cincinnati. The Bills appear to be for real. Now, you beat New England, so I keep saying this. When you beat the best team in the league, how are you not for real? So I think the Bills are the real deal. You've got a quarterback that's pretty good in Ryan Fitzpatrick. You have nice receivers. Fred Jackson, excellent running back. He has been playing phenomenal. C.J. Spiller is good as well. The pass rush is kind of iffy. The secondary is So you don't know what they have defensively, and eventually someone's going to expose that. So we will see tough road test for them as well. How's Andy Dalton going to handle a 3-0 team coming in? So a couple things that are interesting there, but really not much. Tennessee and Cleveland. In Cleveland. Has Chris Johnson run for more than 40 yards yet in the game? Like, honestly, what is going on with him? Just not playing well to start off this season. The lockout on top of the holdout really affected him. So they're in all kinds of trouble. Cleveland, Colt McCoy looks pretty good, not great. But, Cleveland, they're going to be okay. And if Peyton Hillis comes back, plays in this game, hopefully after his Madden curse-induced stomach flu, or what did he have? Strep? It wasn't a stomach flu, was it? It was like strep throat. But hopefully he comes back and he's okay. So it's an okay game. It's not great. Tennessee is bad. Tennessee is a really bad team. They just don't know it yet. They're 2-1. No, people have forgot to tell Tennessee that they're bad. I think Cleveland's going to remind them this week. Cleveland not too good either. So it's an iffy game. Next one, New Orleans and Jacksonville. It's in Jacksonville. Wow, how's Blaine Gabbert going to do against Drew Brees? We will see. But New Orleans is going to pretty much just walk over them. Do you think that's the lock of the week? I think we got another one. There are a couple games that are just like locks. Minnesota and Kansas City. Again, someone has to win this game. The Vikings don't do very well in the second half. The Chiefs don't do very well in the first, second, third, or fourth quarters. So, man, it's a mess. A lot of Adrian Peterson. Can Donovan McNabb get on track against a bad team? We will see. But, again, another rough one. Washington and St. Louis. The Redskins are going to be 3-1. Because the Rams aren't going to win this game, are they? Like, they might. It's going to be a little interesting. It's not going to be a lot interesting. But I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it just because if the Redskins are 3-1, like, man, throws a monkey wrench into a lot of stuff. But again, these early season wins, like, you're just not sure. And the Redskins are definitely bad. Like, there's no doubt. Because when they played Dallas on Monday night, they didn't play well on offense. They couldn't move the ball. They've had an easy schedule to start, and that's why. When they start playing Philadelphia and they run into a Giants team a second time, and so later in the season when their schedule gets tougher, which I think it will, it better, then the Redskins are going to be in all kinds of trouble because, again, they are bad. They just don't know it yet. Redskins and Titans kind of fall into the same category. Like, they're winning some games early, but that's because they have a soft schedule. They don't even know they're bad yet. Giants and the Cardinals in Arizona. Kevin Kolb had a tough game in Seattle, played all right. Larry Fitzgerald, big game. How are you going to play against the Giants? They're coming in weak secondary again because of all those injuries. How's Kevin Cobb going to do against them? So it's just interesting to see. Cobb looks to be really, really good. Cobb is off to a solid start in Arizona. The Giants look to be pretty good as well. They like to win ugly, and they're getting back to that formula that got them the Super Bowl in '07. A little bit of running game and that great defensive line. The defensive line has been fantastic for New York, so that's going to be a really good game. That's the best of the average games, I would say. Giants, Cardinals. That is going to be really competitive. It's going to be late. We'll see how, again, East Coast going west, see how they can handle that. Falcons and the Sea Chickens, again, someone has to win this game. What the hell is going on with Matt Ryan? I don't know what it is. I mean, he had the worst 4-touchdown game I've ever seen a couple weeks ago. He was brutal. Like, 4 touchdowns. And he threw for like 160 yards. Like, he was terrible. But he threw 4 touchdowns. Oh, 4 touchdowns. He was unbelievable. For like 160 yards. I mean, I have a hard time. People think he's a big-time quarterback. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced about Matt Ryan. And there's nothing. The only thing that'll convince me is like throwing for a ton of yards and making the playoffs and winning some games. That's the only thing that'll convince me. So, but the Falcons have the talent to do that. I believe they will eventually. I mean, the Falcons are going to figure it out eventually. They're still a pretty good team. But like I said, they're only going to win like 10 or 11 games this year. They're not this juggernaut that's going to come out of the NFC. They're not. Green Bay, New Orleans, and Detroit are the 3 favorites in the NFC. Everybody else is kind of not worried about them for now. Again, everything changes. It is all in flux. But right now, it's Green Bay, New Orleans, Detroit. These other teams, you got to show me. Denver, Green Bay, the other blowout of the weekend, I would think. Green Bay at Lambeau, Denver. You might see a little Tebow in this game. It's going to be a tough one. Packers are going to score 45 points. Business as usual for the defending champs. They go to Atlanta next week, a game that I want to preview like already. Miami and San Diego. Miami needs to win a game really bad. Otherwise, everyone is getting fired in Miami. Like, man, Sperano is in a lot of trouble. But hopefully he gets. Hopefully they get it together. But it's in San Diego. Phillip Rivers has been excellent so far. He can be better. I believe he will. So on we go. Another business as usual la-di-da game for the San Diego Chargers. The contenders have those this week. If you look, New Orleans, Green Bay. Yeah, New Orleans, Green Bay, and San Diego are the 3 contenders that just have la-di-da games. Like, thank you very much. I'll take that. Moving on. So, not much of a week in the NFL. Week 4, this is kind of a weak one. So, it was one of these weeks that they scheduled I think you could just scratch off in case of the lockout. I think that's why it's so average. But the good games are going to be really, really good. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 really, really good games. And some of them involve really good quarterbacks. And the night game is going to be a slugfest. So all kinds of stuff. The big games in the National Football League, as well as my picks, next. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on the BWC Network.